Okie dokie, welcome back to Community Starcraft 2. I'm your host Sidewinder, and we're back for Game 2 of TLO versus Trickster. This is a best of 3, so if TLO is able to take this game, he will win the series 2-0. Of course, if you have not watched Game 1, it's a very goofy game, so I hope you guys like goofy Starcraft, because this is what you're going to get out of these two players. TLO is spawning up here in the top left of Startale'Trickster as the Red Terran, as you can see here on this very nice map. And Trickster spawning at the bottom right as the Blue Protoss, dropping a pylon in a very strange place, which, again, this is typical Trickster stuff, just doing weird stuff. I actually think he has a pretty good mind for the game. He's very creative, but he makes that kind of stuff work. As of this replay, he just recently fell out of the GSL altogether, which is strange, but it wasn't because he wasn't creative. He's a very creative player, but he has some holes in his game that he needs to patch up and then go back and try to requalify, which I think he'll be able to. He's been a pro gamer for a really long time, and those mechanics don't ever leave you. Trickster rallying his probe out here to probably just drop a gateway, but then again, a forage would not surprise me with the way that this series has been going. No, it is indeed a gateway. TLO on standard timing, which this is about the most standard you're going to get out of TLO. Taking his gas on 13 after the 12 barracks. Trickster, again, is going for like a strange wall-off. It looks like he's a little worried about those Hellions from the last game, so that may be why he wants to set up like this, but yeah, we'll see if those Hellions do come back into play. Trickster, again, taking a pretty late gas. This one's on 16, and the previous games was on 15, so spreads those out quite a bit. Probably just wants a tiny little mineral boost, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's ran this build like 8 trillion times just to assure that he's getting the most efficiency out of it as possible. We do see Trickster discovering where TLO is. He might be relieved to see only one barracks, but it wouldn't be strange to see like a planetary fortress or something out of TLO. Like a planetary fortress at the natural where he just lifted his own off and like sent it over there. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I would not be surprised to see out of TLO. Cybernetics core is now coming down for Trickster after he puts out this Zealot. He did put it out quite quickly, and you notice there's no wall, so he may just try to get in here thinking that TLO may be going for just one Rex expand and just try to kill a couple Marines while he can, or just make TLO work when he otherwise would not want to. Here comes the factory out of TLO. The 2 Marines are just standing at the front door, and the Zealot has to hoof it all the way across the map. You can see him. That's such a futile journey, it seems like, just trying to get across there. It takes forever on foot. He just wish he had a car or something, or like a warp gate thing to get across. But Zealot's going to come up here. The 3 Marines are all standing exactly 3 meters apart. Here comes the Zealot trying to chew up some Marines. There's a probe in here too, which it does die. He could have just used the Zealot in order to get the probe in there and see what's going on without the probe dying. And the Zealot is now going to scout instead, so it does see the factory. He doesn't see any add-ons either, and he sees the factory start working. As you can see, like little sparks coming out of it. One of these SCVs, I think, got that kill. So yeah, that SCV right there has 1 kill. He's a hero. He just killed a Zealot, which I don't think I've ever seen a SCV do before. At least, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Here comes the Stalker, trying to find this SCV, which tries to hide behind these trees, but no. The Stalker can see it down there. He just kills the SCV, goes back home. TLO's trying to get a little bit sneaky. Here's a robotics facility coming down out of Trickster, and a second gateway. He's again not taking his expansion. He could have expanded already by now and had the Nexus almost done if he went for just a standard 1 gate expansion. Another Stalker coming out, and there's another one even queued up. So yeah, Trickster's going to be on 3 gateways and a robotics. This robotics is going to spit out an observer and send it over to TLO's base more than likely. TLO in the meantime is grabbing Marauders. He is grabbing Stim. He's going to be on 3 barracks, all with tech labs. Or no, excuse me, one of them does have a reactor. So it's going to be this goofy composition once again. There is 1 Hellion mixed in, which it may just be for scouting. So we'll see what that Hellion's up to, and we'll follow him across the map. See, this is what the Zealot wished that he had. Look how much faster the Hellion can get across the map in a nice smooth ride, and the Zealot had to run all the way. The Hellion looks like really stressed out. But Hellion does show up at the front door. There's a Zealot and a Stalker blocking this wall, so yeah, he was worried about that Hellion getting in. 3 more Stalkers coming down here out of Trickster. This robotics facility is idle right now, so I'm not seeing... I don't know if he's going to put out any immortals or whatever, or maybe just wait until the observer gets over there to see how he should be responding. But he's going to see a fair number of marauders, fair number of marines, and more importantly, he's going to see no expansion out of TLO. So again, TLO playing a very awkward pace, making it so that his opponents just really aren't sure if they should be expanding or not. It's kind of the vibe that I get out of Trickster right now. Here come these two Hellions trying to poke around, clear out watchtowers if there's any probes sitting there, which there's not. Trickster is still... It looks like he wants to take his expansions. He does have a probe sitting out there, but these Stalkers look like they're a little bit worried about a drop or any sort of funky Reaper play that might be coming out, but Trickster is going to start pressing out just a little bit. Here's a few Hellions poking around once again. Stim is about done, so he's going to try to hit this timing where he does have Stim. He's able to just try and Stim up there and maybe kill Trickster. He's pretty far all in because he doesn't have a command center behind us. He doesn't have one started, and it's about 8:30 right now. But then again, neither does Trickster. But I have to feel that Trickster could have gotten away with one by now anyway. So he's probably just so thrown off by TLO's playstyle that it's really hard to figure that out. You kind of just have to err on the side of caution. But here come the Hellions trying to kill a couple of sentries here if you possibly can. One sentry does get caught. The other units did stim, but they didn't do very much. So forced to stim, that's going to make TLO run home. So Trickster sees this. A command center is just finally coming down for TLO. So I guess he is able to expand behind this after all. A couple of bunkers coming up as well. These Hellions are still poking around, seeing what they can do, and trying to see if they can really get into the main and roast up some probes. But he could really use a starport right now as there's one coming down. More importantly, he could use a medevac out of there if he wanted to do some damage with those Hellions. But Trickster is playing very safe. He's playing very slow. Both of them are actually playing quite slow. Trickster does have enough for a Nexus here right about now, so he should drop it. There he goes. Yeah, here comes a Ghost Academy out of TLO. Pretty fast Ghost Academy. Probably expecting Trickster to keep going with those Immortals. And if you can EMP the Immortal shields, it makes it so they don't take less damage per shot. So can be a pretty nice investment, but I have to figure that this was probably just part of TLO's build that he just tosses in there, you know, just because that's fun. Yeah, Forge coming down here at Trickster right now, and I feel like I'm watching a game from a different league. I feel like I'm watching a game from like a Platinum league or something, because these expansions are super late. The unit compositions are awkward. Both players seem timid, and I just don't really know what to make of it thus far. Medevacs do come out. They're going to heal all these units back up, especially that one hurt Marine. And TLO will be back at full energy. Look at this. We have a nuke coming down out of TLO from that Ghost Academy. So, yeah, that's why that got put together. So we may see TLO try to launch a nuke on top of Trickster's army. So you can see it getting produced from that lovely little building right there. Trickster's still just kind of standing back, waiting for his Robo-Bay to get finished, as he just did plop it down, as you can see right there. He is researching +1 armor on his Zealots, which is a little strange because there's only 4 Zealots out. It doesn't do as much for Stalkers, and not really for Immortals anyway, but he's going to start warping in a lot more Zealots. He is on 3 gas right now, which basically means you can make Colossus and just a little bit of stuff that's gas intensive, but TLO is now pressing across the map. Where's that Ghost? Okay, they're leading the charge. He does have the nuke available, so we'll see if he's able to launch that. Stalkers do press up here and see the Ghost, and ooh, EMP on top of these Stalkers. Pretty nice. He does take out most of them. This one Hellion's like, yeah, what's up? You don't have any shields? Come on. Hellions are flanking from the side. Nuke is now coming down on top of Trickster. TLO does press in with his bio. I don't know if Trickster actually sees that dot, but he is retreating his army, so it looks like he does realize it. This nuke is going to land and hit maybe a couple... No, TLO actually cancels it, so very smart of him. A few Stalkers do get caught out here, so it's pretty bad for Trickster, but this composition of Trickster is actually really strong. So the nuke is essentially just to bust up the ramp. Here comes the Stalker getting focused down by that one Immortal. You can see TLO streaming reinforcements across. These Marauders like, these suits are so heavy. So they have to run all across the map as well. But TLO's medevacs are getting a little bit low. He can't afford to keep engaging and stimming like this if he's not killing off too many units. TLO does have a supply advantage right now, and yeah, he's not making another nuke to my knowledge, but one good EMP could go down. He does EMP 2 Immortals with that. That's really useful if you can get that off. But these Immortals should chug right through these Marauders. And TLO has to pull his forces back just a little bit. His medevacs are running low on energy, so he cannot keep engaging like this. There's now a not a Stalker. That's a huge Stalker. It's also known as a Colossus. Out on the field right now. Range is not quite done. +1 is on the way. Trickster should have a nice little economy lead right now by about 3 probes. So he's doing decently as far as keeping up in production. He's going to go ahead and knock down his rock so he can take his third. Meanwhile, while TLO stands around out here. One thing I'd like to see if TLO is running a little bit of a containment is for Trickster just to put out a quick Warp Prism and make TLO respect some stuff back at his base. During all the action, TLO actually has a 3rd command center up right now. He's making almost all Marauders. You can see only 1 Marine coming out at a time. Vikings are now coming out. A engineering base on the way. I want him to start another nuke because I love that kind of stuff. But the 1 Marine comes over here in great timing to kill this probe that was trying to set up the expansion. This one Zealot's like, oh yeah, why don't you pick on somebody your own size, and just rips him up. You can see the Marine's torsos like flopping all over the place. Yeah, so TLO is still streaming units across the map. Combat shield is now on the way. A little bit of an engagement here. As you can see, Trickster killed about 3 or 4 Marauders right there, so really nice stuff. TLO has to fall back, even though he still has a decent supply advantage right now. Trickster's army is just so cost effective with these 2 Immortals, these 2 Colossus. He does have +1 armor, so that helps out these Colossus quite a bit if they're actually having to take any damage, which you ideally don't want. Here's another engagement. Trickster having to throw down some random force fields in order to try to protect his Colossus. TLO stimps forward, and he can't get one of these Colossus, so he's just not doing enough damage right now with his army. And if you're fighting Protoss in such small numbers like this, you'll actually lose a lot. So Trickster basically evens up the supplies, gets about a 20 supply leapfrog in that battle. The 1 Colossus being left behind. Here come a bunch of Marauders stimming up, trying to take out this Immortal that doesn't have any shields, but it's regenerating shields, so the longer TLO is unable to do that. Oh, 1 Hero Marauder actually picks off the Colossus, so really nice stuff. You can see TLO trying to chase down these Immortals and get some stuff done with them. Nice micro pulling back the 1 Herd Immortal, but there's just too much stuff on the field right now for Trickster. He should be able to kill all these Marauders just fine. More Marines are rallying up here. They're going to be sentenced to a quick death. They do want to pick off as many units as possible, considering these units will get chased down anyway, so TLO needs to fix his rallies and keep rallying his units back at home rather than in the middle of the map. But small battles here at about 18 minutes into the game is not something you usually see. Once again, Charge is now on the way, which I really, really like. +2 ground weapons is on the way. Dark Shrine is now on the way as well, as you did see it ghosting for a second. Mobius Reactor is on the way. Another command center out of TLO is on the way. In terms of, whoops, not production, we're going to take a look at income. TLO is actually ahead by quite a bit. He's ahead by 2 Harvesters, but the Mules are making up a lot of the difference. As you can see, well, the Mules should be around here somewhere. Okay, I guess they're not. I think it was just because Trickster was in the middle of transferring, so never mind. Get a chance to catch my breath here. A couple of dropships full of Marauders are heading out to the right side of the map, top right. It looks like they're just going to drop right about here. Try to take out that Nexus if they possibly can. 1 Marine in the middle of the map, again, just gets wasted by a Zealot. So yeah, I don't think the Marine versus Zealot wars are kind of working out very well. 2-2 on the way. Look at this big laundry list of stuff coming down. There's actually missile turrets coming out here for TLO, and I don't know where they are. Okay, there's one right here, and probably one in the main somewhere? No, I guess not. Trickster's Dark Shrine is now finishing up. Here's the second turret. And I don't know if TLO actually saw that Dark Shrine or not, but that's what would spawn it. No, he didn't. So it looks like his little game senses are tingling right now. Blink is now on the way. 1 Dark Templar. Looks like he's going to get mixed into this army. Nope, never mind. It looks like he's just going to go out by himself. So, you know what? I don't know if I'm able to just really say what's going on anymore, because this game, these 2 players in particular, you're like, well, this is what people would typically do, and then no, they do the exact opposite, and you're like, okay. So here comes 1 Stim Marauder trying to get up here, get information. He's going to die for the cause of his teammates. There is that Marauder drop we were talking about earlier. It is going to take out the Nexus, so TLO doing a little bit of 2-prong stuff here. He does come straight into the main. 2 Dark Templars are ripping stuff up, but they get scanned. They do weaken a couple of Marauders, and TLO has to run away considering he can't afford to just straight up engage this army right now. His force is just too small. He is really Marauder heavy though, so it's really going to help out against these Colossi. But +2 ground armors on the way. Trickster has to rebuild that Nexus. Trickster should actually probably get pretty aggressive right here and push his advantages in terms of those 3 Colossi. Those are really hard to deal with, especially if you don't have any Vikings on the field, which I'm kind of surprised he hasn't put out because he's floating almost 900 gas. So he should be able to find somewhere that he can produce them, but I guess not. I guess he feels like he doesn't need them. There's still 3 ghosts here. A bunch of SCVs are transferring over to TLO's 4th base, which is sitting around right here. Missile turret coming down as well to detect those Dark Templar, which really haven't done anything at all. Here's another Dark Templar running around, and Trickster's planting a pylon at 2 different places so he can get different warp in points. The one Dark Templar does come in here, and he dies easily to that Marauder. It looks like we might have a little bit of an engagement here over on the right side of the map, but no. Trickster's just going to scout out with this Dark Templar and see what's going on. He will find this other base. He may kill a few SCVs, but TLO should be able to recover to that. Okay, never mind. He's actually running his army pretty far away. He does still have this small little pack of units that can deal with that, but most of his army is away from where that Dark Templar is going to be harassing. So Dark Templar should be able to pick off about 5 or 6 SCVs here. They all turn around and fight the Dark Templar, which I guess it's the best he can do. Here's both armies trying to kind of standing up to each other, seeing what's going on. Nice force fields there to pick off a few Marauders for free. The Charge Zealots, they're on cooldown right now. EMP's all over Trickster's army. Here comes the main part of the engagement as the 3 Colossus are really ripping everything apart. You can see that they now have +2 weapons. 38 damage per shot on everything that they hit. That's a lot of damage. The 1 Archon is also ripping a lot of stuff up in here as well. Trickster may just chase TLO all the way back to his base. And TLO is just so short on medevacs that he can't heal through this kind of damage that's being put out. Another terrible rally out of TLO, losing Marauders for free. He may just be like, okay, Trickster, you can have a game, so we can play a game 3. But Trickster's way ahead in supply right now. He's ahead by about 53 supply. Not about exactly 53 supply, but now he's only ahead by 49, now 50. So Trickster's going to try to come over here to the Sturd and try to deny that the best he can. He does have 1 Dark Templar mixed in there, which is really going to help out. 2 Dark Templar are over here bugging these units that are trying to deal with these and try to run home to some detection so that they don't keep dying for free. Here comes the push-in from Trickster. He should easily deny this command center, and TLO cannot afford to engage in these tiny little chokes. TLO just has to say good game, and we'll go on to a game 3 to decide who is the winner of this series and see who's the winner of the most awkward series of StarCraft I've ever seen among pro players. So yeah, TLO floating a ton of gas here, by the way. He really didn't need to mine any extra gas, and he just wasn't spending enough of it. So I don't know. Weird game there, but I did enjoy the small battles, small skirmishes, both players being pretty aggressive. Hopefully game 3 will be a treat for us, so we'll jump straight into that.